Hi, I'm Anna and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the end of the year book tag, which was created by Ariel Bissett. I thought it would be fun to sit down and talk through where my reading is at right now with so little of the year remaining. So let's jump into the questions. Question number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? For this one, it's technically a no. If I'm not feeling a book, I'll either DNF it or I'll just put it down and come back from the beginning another time. I don't really have half-read books lying around, but I do have series I really want to catch up on or finally finish. The first one is A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. I read the first book earlier this year and loved it, and now I'd really like to continue so I'm up to date by the time the next one comes out. Then there's my eternal struggle, the Front of Glass series. I started a reread not too long ago, and this time I really want to avoid the mistake I made all the time, which is taking way too much time between each book. And by the time I come back, I remember nothing of the previous ones, and I have to restart the whole series again. I actually never made it to Tower of Dawn or Kingdom of Ash, so the goal is to keep the momentum and finally finish the series. And finally, I'd love to catch up on Wayward Children by Shannon Maguire before the new one comes out in January. I'm 3 books behind at this point, but they're novellas, so in theory, I should be able to squeeze them in pretty easily. Second question is there a new release you're still waiting for? I am still waiting for 2 new releases this year. The first one is Snake Eater by Ticking Fisher, which is pitched as horror fantasy. We follow Selena. My French brain is not braining right now. She runs away from a controlling partner and she ends up in this tiny desert town called Quartz Creek, and she plans to stay with her aunt. But when she arrives, she finds out her aunt is dead. The only problem is she's broke, so she's stuck here, and she ends up moving into the aunt house. She starts to figure out the locals are a bit weird, but still welcoming, and then she realizes that this town cohabitates with old gods and spirits, and some of them are pissed at her dead aunt. I'm really curious where she is going to put the horror cursor in this book. She has been writing way more fantasy lately, so I'm curious of a new horror by her. And I'm also really excited for An Arcane Inheritance by Camilla Cole. It's a dark academia fantasy. We follow Ellery, a Jamaican American student who finally gets into Warren University, this super shiny Ivy League school. And that school is a bit special because it's built on occult history and a lot of very sketchy secrets. But the worst is, from the moment she arrives, she keeps getting déjà vu. My French is not Frenching. From the moment she arrives, she keeps getting déjà vu. Déjà vu. Do you prefer the French pronunciation? Or should I do the English one? Déjà vu? Déjà vu. Let me know. Like, she's lived this exact year before, and she started finding notes that are in her handwriting, but she doesn't remember writing them. She ends up having to team up with her academic rival, Hudson, to dig into the university's secret societies, ghosts, and witchcraft to discover the truth. The whole synopsis sold the book for me, so I am really waiting for this. It's releasing December 30th, so it will probably be the last book I read this year. Third question, what are three books you want to read before the end of the year? I picked three very different books for this, but they all feel pretty high priority for me. First one is The Strength of the Few by James Islington. The Will of the Many was one of my absolute favorite books last year, and I cannot wait to get back into this world, especially after that reveal at the end of the first book. Also, I'm dodging spoiler left and right, so I pretty much have to read it soon. Then I've got Mate by Alia Wood. I really enjoyed Bright last year, our first try at paranormal romance, and I tend to read all of Alia Wood books at this point. This one probably not an exception. Out of the three, this is probably the one I'm the most relaxed about. I know the moment I feel a slump coming, this is the book I'll reach for. It just has the comfort read, guaranteed fun energy that I'm looking for. And the last one is Colin Gets Promoted and Dooms the World by Mark Waddell. It was sold to me as something similar to Starter Villain by John Scalzi and If Found, Return to Hell by MXU. And I gave 5 stars to both. From the moment I read the synopsis that had office job, unwanted promotion, and the promotion causing literal apocalypse, I knew I wanted to read it. It sounds like the perfect blend of humor and oh no, everything is going terribly wrong. But every time I've ended up prioritizing other books instead, and I've honestly been really sad that I didn't manage to squeeze it in before the end of the year. Question 5, what trends have you noticed in your reading this year? I feel like I'm officially back in my fantasy era. For a few years, I really struggled to read fantasy regularly. I'd pick up one, enjoy it, but never quite stay in the mood for the genre. And this year, it feels like something finally clicked again. I've been reaching for way more fantasy and actually enjoying it. That said, I've also noticed I'm not very good at rotating my genres. Some month I read mystery and thriller almost exclusively, and then the next month it's only fantasy and nothing else. I love to find a better balance so that each month has a little bit of everything instead of living in extremes all the time. And the other big trend is just how inconsistent my reading has been month to month. Some month I read a lot, and then the next half the amount. And I don't really know why. There's no obvious pattern, but it's definitely something I've noticed looking back at my stats. Next question. How do you feel about your reading goals? Anything you want to change, adjust, or abandon? I've had the same Goodreads goal for the past 3 years, 200 books, and it really works for me. I read a lot because I'm lucky enough to be able to read or listen to audiobooks during the day, so it's a number that feels ambitious but still realistic. This year I'm already at around 280 books, but that does include manga. So, in terms of actual novels, I'm probably closer to that 200 mark. I don't think I'm going to adjust the number this year or even next year because 200 kind of felt like my cruise number. I can hit it without stressing and I don't want to turn reading into a grind. If I end up reading way more than that, then hey, good job me. But I'm not going to chase a bigger number just because I happen to have a good reading year. It's already time for our last question. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? Oh, absolutely yes. I've already started thinking about what I want to change for next year. First, I really want to read manga more efficiently. This year I've been very all or nothing with it and I binge an insane amount in 1 month and then not touch a single volume for the next 3. So I'm thinking of using manga as a kind of palette cleanser and slipping a volume in between each book I read. It feels like a nice way to keep up with my series without turning it into a binge fest every time. I also really want to make a dent in my ongoing series. I don't mind having a lot of series on the go at the same time, but I don't love being super behind on so many of them. So next year, I want to be a bit more intentional and actually catch up or at least move several of them forward. And then I need to find a better way to diversify my genres within the same month. Right now, I tend to yo yo between only thrillers, only fantasy, only horror. I'm thinking of gamifying it a bit to push myself to mix genres more regularly without it starting to feel like homework. And that's it for the end of the year book tag from me. I'd love to know your answers as well, so tell me in the comments what's one book you still really want to read before the year ends, or a series you're trying to catch up on, maybe? Give me some ideas for my already overflowing TBR. If you enjoyed hanging out with me today, feel free to leave a like, and if you want to hear me yap about more books, you can also subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye!